please. Program directors, the Treasurer General of the African National Congress, who is our hostess tonight, together with those who assist her as part of the committee that she works with to host these events. Deputy President of the African National Congress and Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Paul Mashatile, National Chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, Fikile Mbalula, Secretary General, Nomvula Mukonyane, First Deputy Secretary General, Marupini Ramokgopa, Second Deputy Secretary General, and members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, the leadership of the Alliance who are here present, the leadership of our provinces who are here, but in this case more particularly, Comrade JJ, the chairperson of our province here in the Western Cape, who is also our host, the leadership of our leagues who are here present, the leadership of our various other formations who are part of the democratic movement, our premiers, as well as our executive mayors who are here with us, our traditional leaders who have also been welcomed by Comrade Besani, but I particularly want also to recognize Queen Masalanabo Mojaji, who is also here with us. Your Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors who are also here, and comrades, members of the African National Congress and other fraternal organizations and friends. This is a moment when we should be happy on the eve of the delivery of the message from the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, the traditional message of the January 8th. And we'd like to thank the business people who are here with us, who've bought the tables. We thank you for continuing to support the African National Congress. Thank you very much. I'm sitting at a table here right in front, and the Deputy President is also sitting at a table. I saw the National Chairperson. Now, at my table is also seated the President of the ANC Youth League. When he came in, he decided to sit at the head of the table. Now, when I looked at the table where the Deputy President is seated, I see at the head of the table is a very serious businessman who you can see that they will have made a serious contribution towards the fundraising effort of the TG. Now, when I looked at the president of the ANC Youth League, sitting at the head of the table, I asked myself, what has he contributed from a financial point of view, sitting at the head of the table? And the youth, apart from obviously having the great ambition of leading this country going forward, they have a very immediate, impatient desire to also sit at the heads of the table when abana selo sa go contribute as a challenge. It's actually quite a great joy to have the 113th anniversary of the formation of our glorious movement here in the Western Cape. And would like to thank the leadership of the ANC here in the Western Cape, and of course the SGO, the Secretary General's office, for having led the process which was approved by the NEC that we should hold the anniversary of the birth of the ANC here. The provincial chairperson and others have done a really fantastic job, much as we go all over to mobilize for the holding of the January 8th celebrations in the Western Cape here. We found a leadership of the ANC that had put in a lot of work, and I'd like us to give them a round of applause for the work that they have done. This is a very special January 8th celebration because one of the wonderful attractions that the SGO added, much as we have a pilgrimage in the latter days of our movement, on the 8th of January, we embark on a pilgrimage to go to the various important sites, particularly the burial sites of our former leaders. We started off in 2018 when we went to the gravesite of the first president of the African National Congress in KZN, when we visited the burial site of President John Langalibalele Dube. We've continued with that tradition, which the national chairperson dubbed a pilgrimage, and we continue with that practice. And this year's continuation of that practice was especially important and profound in that we went to Robben Island and held the celebration, and we held the celebration all over the province, no doubt, but it was especially profound to have held the celebration, one of the celebrations, in the cell of President Nelson Mandela on Robben Island. And would like to thank the Secretary General and the SGO, Comrade Nomvula Mukonyane, and all those who work in the SGO, Comrade Balula, for having made this possible. It was especially wonderful and touching. Your presence here tonight does bear testimony to the enduring way in which we celebrate January 8th and the birth of our movement. And so your presence here is a great honor, not only to the ANC, but also to the founders of the African National Congress. For on this day, we remember the contribution that the founders of our great movement made 113 years ago to form this organization. Our anniversaries provide us with the opportunity to reflect on our history as an organization, but also to reflect on the achievements and the setbacks that we have gone through, but they also outline the actions that we must take to advance the struggle for a united, non-racial, non-sexist, and prosperous South Africa. Now, celebrating our anniversary in this beautiful part of our country allows us really an opportunity to commemorate and to honor the contributions of the people who suffered and struggled for our liberation. The indigenous people of the Western Cape were the first to encounter those who would arrive, invade our country, take our land, and bring slavery to these shores of our beautiful country and oppress the people of our land for centuries. Equally, the people of the Western Cape have a very deep history of resistance to slavery, of resistance to colonization, forced labor, as well as resistance to apartheid. The first recorded political prisoners on Robben Island are said to have been Ashumato, the leader of the Khoi, and two of his other colleagues, Jan Kho and Bobo, in the mid-17th century. They were imprisoned there by Jan van Riebeeck. Some historians put the date of their imprisonment like less than 10 years after Jan van Riebeeck first set foot on our shores in 1652. Now, this tradition of resistance carried through to heroes and heroines of our struggle, such as Dr. Abdulram, Sisi Gool, Dora Tamana, Oscar Mpeta, Philip Hosanna, Ray Alexander, Christmas Tinto, Dulcie September, Dalla Omar, Colleen Williams, Ashri Creel, and many others who followed in the tradition of those who started off the struggle against colonialism and apartheid some 340 years ago. And tonight, we bow our heads to their commitment to our struggle and the many sacrifices that they made. We stood in awe in Robben Island as we remembered the sacrifices that were made by people like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Wilton Mkwai, and many others. Dr. Seth Cooper, who is the chairperson of the Robben Island Museum, who was a resident also and a prisoner on Robben Island, took us around and showed us the various sites on Robben Island, including not only the cell, but the lime quarry, where Nelson Mandela and many other prisoners were humiliated and their dignity was sought to be reduced, and where their warders and those who had imprisoned them wanted to break them, not only to reduce them to people who did not have dignity, but also to make sure that they remain isolated. He showed us all the various sites, and we were in awe. But we also recognized that this was a place of hope. This was a place where they came out of prison, being even more determined and committed to prosecute our struggle to the victory that we finally achieved. And due to their struggles, we stand here today as a politically free people who can draw on this very proud legacy to address the challenges faced by our nation and our people. As the national leadership of the African National Congress, we spent the past few days crisscrossing the length and the breadth of this province, Western Cape, and especially the city of Cape Town, talking to our people, engaging with our people, and getting to fully understand the issues that they confront, issues that pervade the entire country, obviously. And they raise issues about their daily struggles, struggles of unemployment, struggles of a lack of housing, lack of services, and the challenges that they face of poverty and real suffering. And they informed us that they are not receiving the services that they believe are due to them. And all this suffering is largely due to centuries of institutionalized racism, institutionalized exclusion, also from economic opportunities, the economic inequality that continues to permeate through all the facets of the lives of our people. The ANC January 8th statement, which will be delivered tomorrow from the National Executive Committee, will address issues of concern to the people of our country. And it will also outline the reasons the ANC holds the firm view that the National Democratic Revolution is incomplete. We need to intensify the execution of the National Democratic Revolution. We have yet to attain the vision that has been set out in the Freedom Charter as South Africa to ensure that indeed we bring about prosperity in our country. All our people are yet to share in the wealth of our country. And the quest that continues to be articulated by our people broadly, but that is more sharply also articulated by the young people in our country. And in this regard, I want to applaud the ANC Youth League that continues in all their messages to harp on the issue of the economic freedom that must be attained in our country. We applaud the ANC Youth League for that. We also applaud the ANC Women's League for continuing to articulate the issue of the empowerment of the women of our country, but also to articulate the key issues that we need to address with regard to gender-based violence. We take off our hat to the ANC Women's League for that. And we also wish to applaud the articulation by the ANC Veterans League of ensuring that the ANC becomes an organization of integrity and continues to work on the renewal project that the ANC must continue to broaden and to deepen in our organization. And we thank the ANC Veterans League for that as well. Now, we know that as the movement, we need to expand our programs that are aimed at tackling the unacceptably high unemployment rate, the pervasive poverty, as well as lingering inequality. And the ANC thus reiterates its commitment to continue with the process of driving inclusive growth that fundamentally will lead to the transformation of the economy of our country as well as the various other institutions of our economy. And such inclusive growth must benefit all South Africans, but in particular, the women of our country, the young people, and the marginalized, vulnerable groups throughout our country. In particular, we must put before our people concrete and targeted measures to address the challenge of unemployment. But we must also focus on how we empower young people to prepare them for the world of work, to focus on broadening access to education, as well as enhancing the quality education and strengthening skills development, and expand enrollment in areas demanded by the evolving labor market. And laws such as the Basic Education Laws Amendment, the Bella Law, are aimed at ensuring that we improve our education system. And we insist that, indeed, that law, the Bella Act, is going to be implemented. Whether people like it or not, it is going to happen. And a core component of preparing the youth of our country for changing the nature of work, obviously, will be about working together with the private sector to link technical and vocational training to skills that are required, particularly in the digital age and emerging industries. Specific interventions to ensure greater participation by women and vulnerable groups in the economy will also be expanded and strengthened. Now, our strategy, which we will speak to tomorrow, which the NEC has spent considerable time focusing on and crafting the January 8th statement, will also be about how we should transform and build an inclusive economy, and an inclusive economy that will grow, particularly grow one important area, industrialization, innovation, as well as how we can utilize new technology, particularly artificial intelligence. Increased industrialization must also lead to supporting localization and building labor-intensive industries. In efforts to prevent deindustrialization, we want our government to continue to work with the private sector to develop solutions to mitigate and also to prevent job losses. We're now seeing quite a number of companies talking of reducing their capacities in various sectors. And we would like, obviously, government to work with those. And today here we have business people, and we would like them to come forward with ideas on how we can prevent calamities such as job losses that can ensue. Our government must continue to support small and medium enterprises, and we would like those who are part of the business community here to also come forward with innovative ideas, creative ideas that will enhance the capability of government to address the growth of the small, medium enterprises. As enjoined by the Freedom Charter, we will also want to ensure that we implement the National Health Insurance Act, the NHI, and provide universal access to quality health care that is free at the point of service, meaning that the NHI will be implemented. We will proceed with that. And of course, we will also, in the NEC statement, want to talk about how we build a safer and crime-free country, and how we will want to engage society more broadly to work with the various law enforcement agencies so that we can root out criminality amongst the various communities, and by so doing, to ensure that we have a safer South Africa. We repeat our call, and this will be made much clearer tomorrow as well, to ANC structures to lead various campaigns in our communities to ensure that the process of protecting our people, the process of ensuring that the ANC continues to be the leader of society becomes realized. And we will also talk to the understanding that we have brought to bear about the painful electoral setback that the African National Congress suffered in 2024. And we will also speak to the reasons why we suffered this setback and what the ANC needs to do to claim back ground, and how we can ensure that the African National Congress not only regains ground, but regains the trust and confidence of our people. We've always said that the strength of the African National Congress lies in its footprint in every ward throughout the country, whether it's in the urban areas, in the rural areas, in our towns and villages. And even as we have gone around here in the Western Cape, we have seen that the people of our country still have a very strong love affair with the African National Congress. They still love the ANC, and therefore it behoves on us to deepen and broaden the renewal program that we have embarked upon and accelerate the rebuilding and capacitation of the African National Congress, particularly its branches. The ANC as a left and a multi-class pro-poor movement with a working class bias, together with its alliance partners, the South African Communist Party as the vanguard of the working class, the Revolutionary Trade Union Movement, COSATU, and the Civic Movement, SANCO, continue to represent the aspirations of millions of South Africa from all walks of life. Working together with the broad democratic movement, we do believe that our revolutionary and living alliance remains best placed to unite the broadest swath of society in our country around the common goals that are represented in the aspirations of our people, and where we can continue as the democratic movement and the alliance to lead our country towards the establishment of a national democratic society. We intend, as we articulate the tasks that lie ahead, to strengthen the alliance so that it can meet the challenges before us. And as we do that, we also want to invite the Progressive Business Forum and various other progressive organizations to join us in ensuring that the ideals that we subscribe to are achieved. Now, these are the tasks that lie ahead, which the National Executive Committee has decided we should focus on in the year that we have just started. And this we shall do. This year, we will be having a number of other manifestations, very important manifestations. One of the key ones is the 70th anniversary of the adoption of the Freedom Charter. We will want to spend time during the course of this year to focus on the key elements of the Freedom Charter, the lodestar document that has inspired our movement, a lodestar document that to a large extent has also led to the transformation that we see in our country. Having been adopted 70 years ago, we will celebrate the adoption of this document, but we will also want to spend time reflecting on the extent to which we have gone ahead to implement the Freedom Charter. This year, another important manifestation which the Treasurer General, Dr. Ramokgopa, also spoke very strongly about is how South Africa will be the first African country to host the G20. This is an important opportunity. It's an important opportunity to place the needs and the interests of the people of our country, but also the interests of our continent, but also importantly, the interests, the developmental interests of the global South, more firmly on the global agenda. Being the small country that we are, of just 60 or so million people, history has bestowed on us an important role to play a very big role in global affairs. And this presidency of the G20 is a presidency that is bestowed on the shoulders of all of us as South Africans. So each one of us is president of the G20. We must make sure that we play that role. As we know, we will be holding meetings of the G20, some 130 meetings. You will have seen last year one important meeting was held in Johannesburg. There will be many other meetings, 120 meetings that will be held in our country, in all our provinces. And we call upon South Africans to own this G20. We call on South Africans to be willing and prepared to welcome the world to South Africa as we play a key and important role. To you here in the Western Cape, there will be a number of meetings, and we say, be excellent hosts. There are many sites where these people who will come to the G20 meeting will be going to. One of those sites, which, as I said, we visited on the 8th of January, was Robben Island. Robben Island is a very special UNESCO site, and it now receives some 300,000 people every year. and we want that number to go up. They receive 1,000 people a day, and many of those people come from South Africa. So we want to popularize Robben Island and many other sites, including places where slaves were held, so that the image, the reputation of our country is put on a much higher pedestal. And this is the great moment that we have as South Africa, as we welcome all these people who will be coming to the G20. One other important aspect of the G20 is going to be holding a social G20 summit. We learned this from Brazil, where President Lula da Silva called or convened a G20 social summit, bringing together non-governmental organizations or social movements from all over the world. And we will want to do precisely that, if not better and bigger, to bring them here to South Africa. Another key manifestation that we are going to have is to hold the national dialogue. We have committed ourselves to a national dialogue this year. The national dialogue offers a comprehensive platform for all citizens of our country to be part of the political process that should ensue, but which should also help to craft a great future for our country, and to ensure that we involve our people in a discussion, in a dialogue about the type of South Africa we want to have. So we will be going on with that national dialogue. Another important one for us as the African National Congress, we will be holding a very important meeting where the ANC members and branches will be coming together to hold the National General Council, and NGC. So all these important manifestations will be taking place in 2025. And as they take place, we want our members, we want the various parts of the alliance, we want our people to get involved in discussions, in engagement, in interaction. And we do also want to put our continent on the map. And we remain resolute in advancing the interests of our continent, particularly Agenda 2063. We are very pleased that even at this dinner, there are people from various countries on our continent who are present here. And as the TG said, we welcome them, and let's give those from various countries on our continent who are here a round of applause and thank them for being here. So we will continue to advance the interests of our continent and the attainment of Agenda 2063. And at a time of global tension and uncertainty, for us it is now more important than ever that we address or advance the interests of the principles of solidarity, of equality and sustainable development, which are the themes of our G20 presidency. And it is vital that in doing so, we should continue to strengthen the multilateral system, and also that will lead to the reform of global institutions, particularly the financial global institutions and the governance ones. And this is where we will want to heighten the argument of reforming the United Nations. So in the end, as we get thousands of our people to come together tomorrow, and Comrade JJ tells me that they have mobilized the attendance of our people so much And he says the people of the Western Cape are going to be full in that stadium, and those who come from other provinces will be outside of the stadium. So if you are here and you come from other provinces, find a seat outside the stadium, because it will be full of people from the Western Cape. So we look forward to a really successful January 8th celebration tomorrow, as the Western Cape leadership leads us to a very good January 8th. Tonight, we continue to request you as business people to continue to support this glorious movement. As I was about to come through here, journalists from various TV stations were asking the TG, how much money are you raising at this dinner? And she was very evasive. She didn't want to fully disclose. And they kept on saying, how much is it costing anybody to sit at the Deputy President's table? She didn't disclose. How much is it costing to sit at the President's table? She didn't disclose. I am now able to and willing to disclose, but I'll disclose to those who want to contribute more money to the ANC. So we thank you. We thank you for being here. This for us is an important occasion. We've started a tradition as the ANC, which I now see is being copied by a number of other organizations. We were the very first organization to hold a dinner either before our conference or January 8th. Now, we continue to hold it in style. I want to see what further they are going to copy. The ANC continues to lead, and the ANC also continues, as we will talk about it tomorrow, to lead the process in the governance of this country. There are those who thought that, yes, the ANC having gone below 50%, it means that it will not continue leading. We lead, and as we work with 9 other political parties, we've ensured that the political stability in our country remains solid. And it remains solid because the ANC continues to execute the task that it was given in 1912 when it was formed, to unite the people of South Africa and to ensure that there is stability in the country. And we will continue to ensure that there is stability in South Africa, even against those who may want to bring about stability. Stability will continue in South Africa because the African National Congress is leading. Thank you very much.